What up, what up, what up? We back in here once again. We just getting set up. So let me set everything up properly and we'll be good to go. So I'm gonna see if I can project my screen so I don't have to keep looking down. I can just stay in this direction. So give me a second to do that. In the meantime, let me see if I can find some tunes. Just gonna be playing regular music, nothing special in particular, just anything. But I'm gonna obviously be editing and controlling the tone and the key and all that. So it'll be some variation from what you have heard before if you are familiar. So give me 1 second. Let me just project this screen. Let's see. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, let me turn this down a bit. All right, we good. We good. We good. We should be good now. Peace, peace. We in here. We been in here. Hopefully, those who tune in have. So I'll start off with that. Hopefully, you have been moving accordingly. What do I mean? In the 2020 download part one, I told you to put on your helmet of invisibility, right? Now that we have seen all of these events unfold just within these last 30 days, because the last time I made a public video was 30 days ago. So just within these last 30 days, we've seen the world turn upside down, right? Now, if you apply the occult, if you go beyond what we see, if you go beyond what you feel, and you see the actual substance and essence of what's really going on, then you know how to position yourself accordingly. But I'll get further into this as we go along. So let me just lay this blueprint. For those who may not have seen part one, who may not be familiar with what I'm saying at all, in 2020 download part one, essentially, just to sum it up briefly, I said going forward, 2020 and beyond, we will have to move in secret. This is a Plutonian energy that we are in, which is why the last video I did was describing the Pluto retrograde. Pluto rules over propaganda, but Pluto also represents transformation and metamorphosis. This is why we are experiencing both of these dimensions simultaneously as Pluto is in retrograde. So not only do we see Pluto play out how it plays out every day, we also see how it plays out during a retrograde. What people may not know is this year we will actually experience a 6 planet retrograde, which does not happen often at all because I did the research. I used my astrology software and I went back in time and I went forward in time just to see how often this occurs. This does not occur often whatsoever. Not only is this a rare event, this also occurs 2 times this year. Very short periods, maybe about 72 hours, between 48 and 72 hours. However, this happens 2 times in the year 2020. It happens at the end of June. It also happens at the end of September. So we are in the month of June now. So around June 22nd, 21st, between the 21st, 24th, when another planet goes into retrograde, we will actually see the energy reach its apex. Everything we have been experiencing for the last 30 days is essentially a build up to an even greater energy, because again, we have another planet that will go in retrograde, and we already have 5 planets in retrograde. Then it's going to happen again in September, as I just said before. Let me give everybody a break. Let me put on something else. Again, yeah, I don't have to look down. Let's put this on. And again, everything that I play is going to have a chopped and screwed effect. And again, I'm doing this just for copyright reasons. Obviously, you know, they put ads and copyright if you play music. So I have to think smarter, right? I have to manipulate the music so we can enjoy tunes without having all this extra interference and nonsense, right? So just being progressive here. So that's why I'm altering the sounds, just so we don't have to deal with the extra nonsense. Okay. So, moving forward, let me turn this down a bit. Moving forward, because 2020 is a Plutonian year, and we have been in Plutonian time since 2017, right? So this is just a continuation and a progression since we've been in Plutonian times. When we entered into Plutonian times back in 2017, that's when I first started to live stream, right? So just to give everybody a perspective. So as long as I've been live streaming, because before I live stream, I was making pre-recorded videos like everyone else. Immediately when we were able to live stream from our mobile phones, I hopped on it immediately, right? So as long as I've been live streaming, we have been into Plutonian times. And that's verifiable because if you look at my very first live stream back in 2017, I believe it was May or June. I don't know the exact date, but it was a very dark energy. Obviously, I'm going around the streets of LA and I'm showing graffiti, all this other stuff, just showing a new wave, how the energy transitioned from the last time I made an appearance, which was in 2016. Because I maybe didn't make a video like for 4 to 6 months between that time period because we were going through a transition. So I do my best to make my channel reflect the actual transitions that we experience, which is why I don't really want to make videos every time something happens because you miss things. Also, I didn't want to make videos just to feed off of someone else's misfortune. In other words, every time a person loses their life, I didn't want to make a video. That's why I didn't make a video when Nipsey Hussle passed. I didn't make a video when Kobe passed and his daughter and the other passengers in the helicopter, the plane, not the plane, of course, the helicopter. I didn't, of course, and then George Floyd, and of course, like I didn't want to make videos just to feed off of that energy. However, because we deal with the occult, because we deal with necromancy, it is also my responsibility to activate sorcery and bring these channels from the dead. However, I did not want to speak on the man until he was in the ground. That's why I didn't want to speak on these things because he has not even been buried yet. There is no reason. There's nobody having no type of communications, and he's not even buried. But everybody immediately jumped on it as things progress. However, once he is in the ground, you see we have enough evidence to make a full-fledged, fully documented opinion about everything that is occurring. As opposed of imagine if I made a video the day all of this spiraled out of control. All of these new things and revolving parts and components, I would have to be, just constantly feeding that. So I don't choose to do this normally. So again, this is why you don't really see me active as much, because when I do give the presentation, I want to be well informed. So as time has passed and we have become more well informed, imagine if I was doing videos when the riots were happening before the laws started to change. I would have missed a lot of information. So I try my best not to hop on it and be emotional as the world is. I have to step back and look at the grander perspective, then feed those who seek truth. So I can't be moving like everyone else, but then come back and give truth. This is why I said, hopefully, you have been moving accordingly, invisibility, essentially. The whole reason I'm saying that, it goes to Hades, the Lord of the Underworld, for those who may not understand why I'm even saying that. Hades was given the helmet of invisibility, so he was able to move and not be detected. That's where that comes from. So because of the COVID virus, we already had to put on the mask and walk around anonymous. Nobody knows who anyone is because everyone is masked up. So on top of everyone already being anonymous, then when everything pops off, protests, riots, it's hard to identify people. So it all played a part into everything that is occurring now, which is now laws are being changed, police stations are being defunded, so on and so forth. Now actual laws are being activated instead of people just upset and protesting. So actual laws are being passed, legislation is being activated, so on and so forth, which is ultimately the purpose, which is what they are looking for. Those who choose to use politics